All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 2. This first best of 3 of the day. Folks asking who's commentating with Rifkin still. If you haven't figured it out at this point, he's been here for like 3 out of 4 groups. It's James, aka Mal, aka the WCS/Red Bull translator / all around awesome dude, who is apparently
God damn it, people notice me.
Okay, I was gonna say humble and nice and awesome, but never mind. At any rate, we find ourselves in game number 2. This will determine the winner or the loser's matchups, of course. But top left, pardon me, corner of the map, we have CM Storm's Blue Zerg player Revival, who's leading 1-0.
Oh, you make it sound so surprising.
Yes, it is, and I'll talk about that in a moment. But his opponents do something cheeky, so just get this out of the way.
Revival and I are close friends, but the boy that I manage, TCM Soulkey.
Alright, Soulkey's going for tenfold Banelings. This is going to be scary. This is going to be dangerous. The reason I say this is surprising for Revival is because as much as I love Revival, he's had a really bad latter half of 2014. Most tournaments we see him compete in, he does not do too well in. In fact, the several that we've invited him to as well, he's flopped out of. So to see him go up 1-0 against a player who I quite frankly think would beat him most of the time is kind of impressive.
In Revival's defense, he's got a this is what we call it. He has an illness, a bit of a condition, where he'd like to take pathetic engagements. Even on the days when he looks like really strong.
Yes. There are times where I could distinctly remember, like his Zerg versus Terran's a good example of this. He'll be ahead in a game and they'll take a bad engagement and flop right out. I mean, it sucks, but it does seem to be Revival's sad little story. But it's really nice to see him start off strong in this group. We'll see if he can close this out with 2-0 and defend against Soulkey, who has gone for these earlier Zerglings. His spawning pool is just now spawning, but with some drone micro, he can deal against the Zerglings for now. It's the Banelings he's going to get so scared about. So the 2 as they approach the ramp will probably become Banelings, and these 6 lings in the main are just going to corral the Zerglings, trying to sheep herd them, so to speak, into one big cluster for these Banelings to connect to.
You know what's funny is Soulkey used to be known for his defenses. And all of a sudden this year, he just kind of changed.
That was a cool little micro move to actually turn the
great save on the link.
Yeah. Of course, it'll heal to full and the Banelings out, but the drones are being split. He's going to try and send some down to the natural. Really like this move. Oh, but not if he's not paying attention to his main. Loses 6 drones for this to those Banelings. The Baneling connects on the ramp to a couple of these drones. Now they're really low on health. But Revival's got a natural over his opponent. If he can just keep at least 6 drones alive, he'll be in an absolutely fantastic spot. Yeah, especially with the Queen spawning.
And losing that Overlord really hurts too. So this is now or never. And
yeah.
I think with that extra hatchery and the larva count, I think Revival has done it.
Yeah, he's chasing back the links, slow links versus slow links in the middle of the map. The 2 Queens will take care of anything on the ramp. There is no follow-up.
Start with metabolic boost upgrade is the only follow-up Soulkey can go for.
It's only an attempt at a follow-up, yeah.
He can't really do anything. He can't really macro out of this. He can't go for roach warrens or anything like that. So it's.
In fairness, it's not that he can't macro out of this, but he can't out macro Revival out of this. So.
Oh, the English orders. Okay.
But no, it's an important detail because there are a lot of times in StarCraft 2 we always talk about like players getting left alone, then they catch up, but that's not really an option here. And this is going to be a bit awkward as Revival will lose a lot of these lings if they're outside of the map when that metabolic boost finishes. It'll be a massacre.
Come on, Revival, don't get into that condition.
Yeah, don't fall on the spot, man. Like you are ahead. 14 drones to 2 bases with these Queens. Okay, he's not injecting at the moment, but he doesn't have the money to spend the larva on anyway. So for a time, this is okay. Sits on the ramp with transfused energy and a spine crawler down. Revival's going to be just fine for now. We'll stress that for now. For Soulkey, his metabolic boost finishing up in a second. He did get some more drones out behind this, but still no natural base. Not having that extra larva factory, not having the additional place to mine from, this is all going to hurt as time goes on. But, you know, Revival... Well, hang on, Revival's doing something I'm not sure I love. Okay, barely gets using that Queen. He's investing so heavily in defense right now. This is actually something that may set him far enough behind. Like, if a 3rd spine car comes down and we get 5 Queens in total, that's so much money sunk into this that Soulkey taking this natural base is no longer, I think, as problematic as it otherwise would be. They're sitting on fairly equal drone counts. That's 150 minerals, 150 minerals. Each of these Queens is not 150 minerals. I mean, I'm not doing math, but that's like 700 something minerals that Revival has invested in static / not offensive defense.
I don't know. That sounded very much like the math, but well, the thing is that you invest two drones into spine crawlers. We make a little more queen than necessary, but now Revival's sitting in the position where he doesn't really have to worry about Baneling Bust or anything like that. He's got his defense solid. All he has to do is what all happy Zergs do: SD, 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 and until your roach warren's ready, or your whatever tech that you want to go for is ready.
Oh, a third spine. This is.
Well, he sees the metabolic boost upgrade now, and he's not even going for the upgrade.
But here's where this falls apart for me, my point of view. I think Revival is in a good spot. I agree. There's no way he gets bust by anything. But if he had invested in that spine, that's so much money just out the window. He is quote unquote wasted, and I say this with air quotes because it's good defense, but it's nothing he's gonna be able to take across the map. So Soulkey's not quite caught up on drones yet, but he is droning really hard. He's got a natural base down. He is and might catch Revival if Revival keeps, I don't know, investing in silly things.
Yeah, and one thing Soulkey can really do at this point is that Soulkey was smart enough to reveal metabolic boost, show and apply a little bit of a pressure in the front by attacking the queen and stuff like that. Now he's in a spot where he knows that Revival is just sitting at home. He can take his third. Soulkey can take his third, and eventually he may just be able to out macro Revival, but Revival's drones is going out to take his own third, so I guess not.
This is a strange way for a 10-pole Baneling to play out in his EVZ, but Revival still does have a lead. Whether he maintains his third or not is kind of beside the question, because he does have that drone lead, which is his bigger income. I guess for this point, with both their layers finishing at the same time, it really depends on who's going to go for where. With Soulkey not having a Roach Warden down, I'm assuming it's Mutalisks, which is kind of a scary thing because it's going to force Revival to invest in more static defense, force Revival to make more queens, go to a tech path he wasn't comfortable with, because his Roaches are not going to hit at that crisp timing that catches the Mutalisk players with their pants down.
And?
You know, no spine crawlers, the Mutas aren't spawned just yet, all the Roaches in the natural.
My kids are watching this, man. Let's not talk about pants being down.
I'm pretty sure you've sworn like 1,000,000 times on the cast, so you tell me kids are watching this cast. But no, like in all honesty, like we oftentimes, there we go, see the spine crawlers come down. You want 3 to 5 to be perfect. The Mutalisks will never quite spawn just in time, but they'll spawn after the Roaches hit. So Soulkey is playing this out pretty perfectly behind this. And it's so weird to consider, but like, had Revival just not played with such paranoia, perhaps he would have had a much bigger lead. Well, still in a pretty good spot.
He is in 1-0 lead in this series.
Yeah.
Even though he kind of threw away his advantage, or he didn't really throw it away yet, but his advantage definitely got diminished over time. But it's worth it. He just needs to play it out safely and take a couple good engagement and win this, then he just walks over to the winner's bracket and doesn't have to play another third game.
Yeah.
And then the next game would potentially be, actually no, winner's bracket is Protoss versus Zerg. Never mind. I was gonna say it could be another Zerg versus Zerg, but
well, I mean, a majority of the games should technically be Zerg versus Zerg unless Rain somehow loses his winner's match. But yeah. But okay, so Spore Crawlers are coming down. He got an idea that this was on the way. He did scout that Spire, so
there's a lot of Overlords out on the map.
Yeah, he's trying to pull them back.
Or something. Oh, that's gonna suck. That has got to suck.
Yo, I like the Infestation Pit. It's not a bad choice. It's definitely a good way to deal with Mutalisks, but watching a lot of Namshar in the European scene, and I know guys comparing European to Korean, what am I doing? But Namshar's actually been doing this sort of thing where in response to Mutas, he goes like 9 queens heavy. And it works pretty darn well, and he'll slow push with the Roaches. There's a lot of transfuses. The Mutalisks usually can't deal with that many queens anyways, so we're not seeing that response here, but it's just cool to see that there's something other than just Spore Crawlers, something other than just Hydralisks to turn back Mutalisks. A couple of these Overlords still going to go down, but Soulkey going for Swarm Host behind this. Whoa! Whoa!
That's standard Soulkey. Back to 2013, or 20...
Earlier 2014, I think is more accurate. We had like Lone Star Clash with like Stefano and Petraeus. Like we had so much Swarm Host this year. But one thing I do find really interesting is Swarm Host kind of, I think, fell out of the matchup because every Zerg player realized that, oh, you win Swarm Host, well, I'll just go Broodlords and not a win. But because Revival's not gone down this tech path, that's not so easy for him to do.
Personally, I like Soulkey's Swarm Host play. His Swarm Host play is slightly different from a lot of other players where you just sit there and like park your Swarm Host and try to do something with it. But whereas Soulkey's Swarm Host is a little bit more aggressive, and on top of once he hits that number of Swarm Hosts that he wants to get, he quickly transitions over to Broodlords, Corruptors, and other kind of tech trees like Hydralisk. He adds a lot of things a lot quicker than a lot of other Zerg players do. So it's gonna be interesting what he's gonna transition out of once he hits that Swarm Host count that he wants.
Yeah, this is sadly, when you play Zerg, you don't have force fields. You can't pick up and drop elsewhere. You kind of have to take those locusts at face value. The closest thing they can do, Revival that is fungal growth the locusts in place and try and walk around them. Might be his best bet, but obviously wants to use those fungals for the Mutalisks, and he's going to get his first glimpse of the Swarm Host just now. So this being said, he did go for Hydralisk behind this as well, and I really like the choice to buffer this with the Infestors. I'm a big Zerg advocate for Infestors in the first place, but we so oftentimes just see Banelings roll into Hydralisks, and it's kind of like watching Marines die, but if you've got those fungal growths to catch the Banelings, that will never happen. Not with good control, at least.
Oh, Swarm Host. Left retarded.
Yeah, I guess what's nice is the Roaches can take a couple of hits from the Locusts without going down too quickly, but as we still see, free units for free damage, always going to be worth it. A couple of the Roaches caught on the reinforcement path. The Mutalisk count was never really replenished, so not dedicating too much into it. If the Overseer does go down, the nice thing is fungal growth can reveal the Swarm Hosts for a time, but it's pushing Soulkey back pretty hard, and he doesn't have a whole lot of room to keep running for.
Yeah. Oh, fungal growth. Bringing all the roaches.
I don't know. There's still a lot of locusts they gotta chew through. Locusts have about as much damage as a Hydralisk, just not the range. I think.
And there's the upgrade difference too. There's 1 to 2 upgrade difference.
So he squashes the roaches on the left side. Now he's going to continue pushing into the main. This is looking pretty good for Revival. I really thought this was not going to go too well once we saw the Swarm Host retreat 3 or 4 times, but gets the fungals on the Swarm Host. Locust cannot even attack. One more fungal growth will keep these from retreating at all. If the Locusts and the Hydras, or if the Hydras and the Roaches are get on top of them right now, he will kill about 5 or 6 of them. Here comes the Mutas, though. Fungals the Mutas, but he's out of juice. He's got about 2 fungals left. He's going to have to choose to use them on the Swarm Host.
So cute on Swarm Host. It doesn't really do much.
But it's a big deal because he lost his Overseer. Those fungal growth were his only form of detection. Revival's momentum has been absolutely killed, and he almost caught some of the Swarm Host, but let's not forget, Soulkey did segment some from the south, so always attacking from 2 angles, always making that difficult to take a perfect engagement for Revival. And these Mutas are such a pain. There's not a lot, but they're going to kill the Infestors. No.
Oh, not going all the way? That's surprising.
Soulkey is playing this out really damn well. Like, that got really scary for a moment. But now with so many Roaches, so many of his own Locusts beating back Revival, I mean, it's a situation where, well, first off, the Mutas finally get cleaned up, thank you goodness. But not before all the Infestors go down.
His Soulkey Swarm Host is a little bit different. Just don't know how he does it.
Well, I really like that he split them, to be honest. I think that was the strongest thing you could have done on that defense. If you just kept choking them all in one direction, all the Locusts would have been constantly fungled. But he actually had about 10 Locusts, I think, or 4 Swarm Hosts, but about like 8 Locusts actually attacking that southern flank. So, yeah, Soulkey playing this really smart, really well.
And he had broken that rock before, so he's moving all his Swarm Hosts around the natural. And I think as interesting and as cute it was to fungal growth on the Swarm Host to get the detection out of it and to stop Locust from advancing, I just don't think it did enough job.
No, it's 30
given
damage
how much
over
mana
time.
that was.
It's really not much. No, speaking of which, fungal growth going down yet again on top of the Roaches, but your Revival just lost his natural while this was going on. He's going to lose some of the units here as the Locusts continue to push forward. That damage coupled with the Roaches is just a little too much. And I mean, Revival had the momentum.
Anytime soon now. Yeah.
You had the
Revival is still playing really well, and given the fact that the upgrades are only like 1 armor difference, not that much, and the fact that he's lost so many Hydralisks and so many core units in that engagement nearby, like in between the natural and the third of Soulkey's, Despite that, he's holding on pretty well, and his fourth is running a lot quicker than Soulkey's.
That being said, he hasn't really invested a lot more into more Hydralisks.
Break the rock! Break the rock!
Yeah, that'd be actually good to stall the Locust, but I think the problem is he doesn't have more Hydralisks. So Roaches, they can take hits from Locust, but they don't really have the same damage. Hydralisks need that DPS to really just shut these down. So whether it's more Infestors or whether it's more Hydralisks, like just Roaches aren't going to cut it. He's going to keep bleeding these out to the Locust, and if that's the case, he will slowly die out of this game. Infested Terrans come down, they're kind of cute, but they're nothing in comparison to the Locusts.
Maybe Rival wasn't really aware of the Swarm Host transition.
Definitely not. But
from the Mutas.
You know what really stings about this, of course? Let's not forget, he got kind of far ahead after that perfect early game defense. Well, not perfect, but